Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Reformed Dissenters, the show where Reformed Christians dissent against popular ideas of culture by asserting a biblical worldview. My name is Bruce Johnson, joined of course by my brother Jacob Johnson.
Hello everybody.
And we have got a ton of stuff to talk about. The focal point of today's episode is going to be I don't know that it's comical. We are going to talk about some pretty hilarious things related to it.
Yes.
But yeah, it was an interesting thing, and actually, there are far deeper implications we're going to address at the end of this episode. We're going to be talking about the Chinese spy balloon. I cannot believe I just uttered those words. Yes, it is 2023, and we are talking about Chinese spy balloons. Okay, so that's the thing. But if you would like to get access to all of our previous episodes and check out some of the other platforms we're on, including Facebook, Instagram, Getter, and Gab, you can go to our website, which is trdshow.net. We got a list of links to all the many platforms we're on there. So please check us out, follow us, like us, do all the kind of stuff that let us know you enjoyed our content or are enjoying our content. Send us an email, trdshow@protonmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. So first things first, there is a ton of hilarious stuff, and we're going to kind of kick off the episode in a way that we don't usually kick it off with, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into all that, we have to do what we always do, which is talk about our verse of the week. And I am trying to find my doc here because we've got a ton of docs. So this is what happens when you've got literally hundreds. We're now up to episode 155, I think, 154, something like that. So when you've got hundreds of episodes worth of notes, it gets a little interesting keeping track of all of those notes.
Yeah. 155.
So, okay, there we go. 155. Yeah. Thank you. All right, our verse this week. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the verse itself because we're going to talk about it a lot on Friday. So I'm just going to read it and then we'll kind of move on from there. But this will impact our conversation today as well because it's important to keep this in mind. So our verse today is Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. And this passage says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And again, that's Matthew 11, 28 through 30. So those verses obviously are from Christ. And what we're going to talk about on Friday, so stick around for that Friday episode, we're talking about Reforming Modern Ideas of Work, Part 2. If you listen to Part 1, you'll remember that we just had so much to talk about that we couldn't fit it all into one episode. So this is Part 2 coming up and coming at you this Friday. So we're going to talk a lot about, especially this last part of this verse, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, which implies there is a yoke to carry and a burden to carry as well, and that's not wrong because it comes from Christ himself. All right, so we'll get into a lot of that on Friday. So what I'm going to do is let's just jump right into this, and I'm going to pass it over to Jake to kick us off today.
Oh, all right, we're doing this. Okay,
we're doing
so
this.
All right, we're going to get my train of thought first. There's the first step.
I can kick this off if you want.
No, I should be fine. It should be fine.
Good.
But we're going to start out this episode a little bit differently, like Bruce said, than we typically do. But hopefully this start will be a little bit of a comical one and get you ready for the rest of the depressive talk.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Go ahead.
This was hard to resist. I mean, the amount of memes going around on the internet doing what we're about to do it was too hard to resist.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I will actually, as the person who took over control of the airtime right now, I will actually give airtime back to Bruce to go over the first meme.
Okay. All right. Well, we're both going to look through a collection of a couple of these because they are just, oh my goodness. All right. So if you're watching us right now, what's up on screen? This just okay. This is hilarious. I'm so sorry for you podcast listeners. What you're seeing is a child's balloon tied to a Chinese takeout basket. And all of this is probably what the balloon was actually meant for. So we're all freaking out about, oh, it's spying on it. No, this is just Chinese takeout, people. Nothing to be
Probably
scared
gone
of.
bad by now.
Yeah, right?
That
They're shipping
altitude.
authentic Chinese food from China over
Right,
here.
from China. Because
with a
they
balloon.
were like, that Chinese American food, it's not that good.
Right. Let's beef this up a little bit. Oh, pun intended.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd be the ones adding the beef.
Right.
So the next one is hilarious. This was just like, yep.
So I figured we could go back and forth with these. I'll take
go for it.
Then you take the next one. But first of all, before I take
Clearly
this
was not planned.
Oh yeah, this was spur of the moment kind of thing. But really wasn't, but kind of was.
We're like, hey, we got memes.
Then, yeah. But but for those who are podcast listeners and are listening to us, and you're probably very confused at this point, but you should go back and watch the video just to see all these memes.
To get the full effect.
You probably have all the like, you'll probably listen to the rest of the episode, understand everything, but
which you should do that.
Just go back and watch it just so you can see these memes, because they're really good.
They're hilarious.
This next one shows a picture of a balloon connected to like almost like a satellite dish sort of thing. And on the balloon, the caption says, "We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty." And obviously this is very funny because of that other meme that's going around. Not meme necessarily, but it's like a common thing nowadays. But yes, I think this one is really, really good. Yeah, oh yeah. But just China's coming over to let us know they've been trying to reach us about a car's extended warranty.
Yeah. So that's awfully nice to them.
Hand it back to Bruce.
Yeah, this next one will just kind of go through. Chinese release first balloon photos from Missouri. And if you're listening, you got to go back and watch this. It's literally like two people who are in their backyard, like rednecks, trash everywhere. He's throwing there's a guy throwing like a beer bottle at the balloon. And they're like in the process of totally freaking out. That's hilarious. We'll go to the next one.
Missouri for sure. This one when I saw it is so funny because, and it does tie into the actual discussion.
What we're going to talk about.
Yeah. This one says the White House shooting down the spy balloon after it was done spying. And it shows a picture of all these workers in the White House. Yeah, NASA. They're all shaking hands and all ecstatic because
we did it, guys. After they already accomplished the mission they were sent here for. Whoopsie! I mean, we did it.
And to add a little bit of information to this, just so you know, the spy balloon had the technology. After we shot it down, we were able to look at the technology and everything. The spy balloon had the technology to live send data to China. I mean, so it wasn't just going to take pictures. Right, exactly. It wasn't just going to take pictures and then China was going to have to get it back later and then look at those pictures later. It was live, not video, but live data going back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Good night, table. Good night, moon. Good night, Chinese spy balloon. It's like, if you've heard that, it's just hilarious. Anyways, that's up on.
Is that a nursery rhyme?
I think it is. Something like that. I remember there was a kid's book as a kid I would read. It was something like that. I don't think it was like the Berenstein Bears, however you say them. Berenstein Bear, whatever. Whatever they were, I think it was like something like that. It was
okay.
I think it's like literally called Good Night Moon. Yeah, it's hilarious. Good night table. Good night moon. Good night, Chinese spy balloon.
Yes. Yep.
It's just up in the sky, just watching you while you sleep.
Yeah. This next one, going in rapid fire order here. Just moving on to the next one.
Do it.
The next one. Okay. I think they'll do this one in reverse order. I'll tell you what the picture looks like, then I'll give you the caption. All right. The picture is a gigantic beer mug. That's like a balloon. and flying in the sky. And the caption is, "Oh, great! Here comes the German spy balloon." Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that one's pretty
Yep.
good, pretty good. And it's
Hilarious.
on theme for a couple other ones that we're going to be
Oh,
going through.
great. Oh, that's gonna be fun. And lastly, if you don't know what this is on screen, it's because you apparently don't live in a
Live in the
state with.
Midwest.
Yeah, you live in the Midwest or you live somewhere that neither Jake nor I are from. So, considering we're from the same place, which is Northeast Pennsylvania, um, and yeah, it's a pierogi attached to a basket. And what was it? The Polish spy balloon?
Polish pie balloon. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pie balloon? Spy balloon. There we
pie
go.
balloon. Yeah, the Polish
Pie
balloon
balloon.
of
Yeah.
pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is. So,
Um,
anywho,
but yeah. I'm assuming it's because like Pennsylvania is very much Dutch. There's like a lot of Dutch
oh
heritage to
yeah,
it. So there's probably a
yeah,
lot of like Polish sort of influences and stuff like that. So that's
yeah.
probably why we know what
Pierogies.
pierogies are and not a lot
We've
of
got all the
other
best
people
food.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pierogies are the best.
I know.
All
Well,
right.
it's so weird because we had friends who lived in Virginia. We had
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
obviously, now I'm here in South Dakota, and like pierogies, apparently people don't know what they are, which to me is the strangest thing. Is I'm like, it's a pierogi. How do you not know what a? It's a
Yeah, exactly.
delicious potato, or what is it? I don't. Okay,
It's
so
like
I don't
it's
know. I'm not
mashed
the chef.
potato and cheese
Right.
inside of a dough.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know,
It doesn't get better than
and
that.
then
Deep fried, like
exactly. Well,
yeah.
you can either deep fry it or pan fry it.
Oh,
So there are
I
there
vote
are two
yes.
different things.
Both options. Do them at the same time, or one after the other. I don't know which comes first. I'm
Okay.
not the chefer
Eh.
here, so
um, but you know, yeah, pierogies. They're pierogies.
it's
I mean,
pierogies. Come on.
to be honest, I feel like if you haven't heard of a pierogi, you have to have something like this. That it's like mashed potatoes
Right?
with cheese
Yeah,
inside of a dough. It's like that is one
absolute
of the
perfection.
most plain basic best ideas in the world that
Yeah,
almost any culture could come up with. It
hopefully,
doesn't have to just be
hopefully they've come
Poland.
up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um however,
Yes.
moving on to more serious
Do it.
issues.
Let's do it.
Uh
Let's talk about demise and destruction for a little while because we just
which
got
can be
too
funny
excited there. Which
in its
can be
own way.
yeah.
Because it's funny
Yeah.
that this is happening and
Yes.
sad and funny still kind of, I think.
Right.
Maybe in
Yes.
your own twisted way. Um
So you're gonna get really down for the next 15 minutes, and then you're gonna get really, really down for my
when
wrap
it
up
gets
at the
to
end.
yes.
So
Yes.
I'm really, really sorry about that.
So, alrighty. Again, back on a regularly scheduled program. Um, I will be going through articles and talking about them and everything. And my first article that I want to bring up is initial classified balloon report wasn't flagged as urgent, drawing criticism. So, okay, let me break down what this means. And really, the reason for this article, it is a CNN article. I am sorry. I know I bring in CNN a lot and that kind of
I'm
stuff.
sorry.
But
Apologize.
basically, yes, yeah. I basically have to always like encapsulate it with I'm using articles out there. Do your own research. And obviously, I'm not saying whatever CNN says is gospel truth. What I'm saying is that they have some good information. I'm just going to use the good information. Not going to use their opinion on the information because it's probably wrong. But starting out, this article gives us a good timeline order of what happened. According to the article, here's the interesting thing. According to the article, the U.S. knew that some foreign object was headed towards the U.S. airspace. 2 days. 2 whole days before it even reached Alaska.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's Alaska. Nobody even cares about Alaska. And yet
yeah. And yet we saw it.
yeah.
Yes. And and then soon after, the Chinese spy balloon entered the US over Alaskan airspace, over American airspace.
Wait,
The government,
Alaska is American?
yes. Oh, okay. I was
Yeah, no.
worried for a second there. Hold on.
Like, wait, what? See,
Yes, for
I
those that
thought
don't
maybe
know,
you lived in Alaska. So
people do. Well, one of our friends did
I know
for a little
our
bit.
missionary friend we had on the show a couple months back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But during this time, right, that it came over Alaska, the government, knowing again 2 whole days before it reached Alaska, we did nothing about it. Which is again, that's what this whole CNN article is bringing up, is that it's what were we doing? We knew it was here 2 whole
Right.
days before it even came in. I think it
We
was, it looked
alerted
like, yeah,
the head honcho there over at the house that is white,
the thing was that we
and
didn't.
it took him 2 days. What?
Yeah, no,
That's
President
actually
Biden
probably for
was
the
not
best.
alerted.
He would have gone
Yeah.
out there with a string and tried to tie it and be like, "Yay, I got a balloon."
Yeah. Nice. Nice. But again, we did nothing about it. I think because the way that it was going, it hit Alaska and looked like it was going to go through Canada if it was to continue on a straight line.
Well, ain't
But
nobody care for Canada. We should
it
have known better
hit
than that.
Canada. Sorry, it hit Alaska and then turned down towards the United States. Because again,
Wow.
Alaska is above the United States, connected onto Canada.
Oh,
So
great.
Alaska is
Yeah.
not connected to mainland
Right. Right.
America. So it's up above, connected to Canada. So it came in at Alaska and then turned down through Canada and then hit like somewhere near Montana, I think.
So this thing had some level of sentience, is what you're telling me.
Exactly. Yeah. They were able to control it. And there were times that it had stopped. It would like stop over a certain area and to like take pictures and do
I
stuff
wonder why.
for like 30 minutes and stuff.
Wow.
So,
So we were tracking it the whole time, watching it
yes.
take pictures,
Yep.
watching it. Oh my
Yep.
goodness! And we just sat
Yeah.
there.
And we just sat there. Very suspicious, right? That is very
Yeah.
suspicious. And, let me give you an innocent and benign reason for why the US government was not alarmed. Again, and this is truly innocent and benign, okay? This might not be what happened, but I will just give them an out here. The US government was probably well confused as to why the Chinese were using a balloon, right? Instead of drones,
Yeah.
or instead of satellite, instead of just the internet, interwebs. They could have easily gotten all their information through using a satellite or using drones, which would have been way less detectable, and the US wouldn't even know that they were doing it. However, they send this balloon over, which again, a balloon is very unsophisticated technology. Like, it's a balloon. I mean, yeah. Um,
We use it to describe something bulbous and large
yeah,
and
yeah,
round. We would say that thing ballooned. That doesn't
yeah,
exactly strike me as a covert operation.
exactly.
And
Um,
yet,
so let's just say what was this balloon doing here? So I move on to my next article. I want to give a brief disclaimer that a lot of my articles, I'm going to be saying the same point over and over and over again. Hopefully, it just will cement in your mind and bring up questions. Because really, all of this is questions. Because it's still very new and very not well understood. It's like, what just happened?
yeah.
Everything is so weird right now. We have no answers to these questions. There are some answers, people who have speculated, but we don't have any concrete answers. But my second article is Chinese spy balloon sought secret U.S. communication signals, State Department says. So
Wow.
apparently they're after our secret communications, according
And
to
that's
the
not
State
innocent or
Department.
benign.
No, yeah. However, again I say, why wouldn't they just use a drone?
Yeah.
Why the balloon? Why the huge big balloon? I mean,
I
they
mean,
could have gotten their information.
here's the crazy thing, though. It worked. The
It
crazy
did.
thing,
Yeah.
I mean, we're going off on like, well, this, why would they do a balloon? That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
Anybody, it's not covert. We could have shut it down anytime.
yeah,
But did we?
yeah,
We
yeah. Right?
didn't.
No,
That's
we
the
didn't.
one of the crazy part. What? First of all, China's sending spies over here. Like very physically, they've been spying on our interwebs for years, right? Digital communication. Now they're sending literal spy balloons over to take pictures of us, and as you're going to get to over nuclear sites in a second. But
Yeah,
like, it worked. That's the crazy, creepy, horrifying thing here is that they now have that intel.
yeah,
Um, they have, as you were just saying, the secret U.S. communication signals, or at least they were searching for that. Who knows if they found them
yeah,
or not? Like, that's kind of frightening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Um, Here is a brief idea. It could have been a scare. Like it could have been something that was like, oh, China's just saying, "Hey, we're spying on you.
We're
This
slowly
is
on.
obvious. We're
Yeah.
looking at you. We're looking at
Yeah.
all that you're doing over here." And as a scare tactic, they're trying to scare us, even though they could have done this in a more discreet way. Moving on to my next article. Again, like I said, this point will be hammered a ton. Please bear with me. This next article says Chinese spy balloon flew over other U.S. missile and nuclear weapons sites. And that's just crazy that it was specifically going over specific nuclear targets, nuclear missile sites, and taking pictures, doing surveillance. Why?
Yeah.
It's creepy. It's scary.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna quickly go through, move on to my next article, but keep in mind they are looking at our nuclear missile sites.
Yeah.
And now, because of this, because of them looking at our nuclear missile sites, are these missile sites, according to our government, they are now being moved, which is good. That's a good way to keep it from being like, oh, now they know where they are. Let's move them. So now they don't know where they are
Yeah.
until they send the drone. Until they send the drone the next time.
Right. Yep.
But my last article, I will try and go through this quickly because I know Bruce has a good bit that he wants to say. But this article is House condemns China's brazen surveillance following spy balloon incident. I think this one is vitally important to our discussion here. And let me explain why. The reason I think it is vitally important is because what the House said. The House is calling this balloon over the U.S. an act of aggression. This and what does an act of aggression lead to? It leads to war. It leads to other acts of aggression. It leads to us in the U.S. saying, "Oh, we don't want China to think that we're weak, so we got to do another thing to push them back a little bit so they don't do this," which escalates the situation, creating more aggression. And this is on top of the already weak uh, diplomacy that we have between China and the US.
Yeah.
This is already on top of the tensions that are there. Something interesting that I also want to bring up on this crisis is on the eve of what had happened, of the whole balloon, a US diplomat was planning on going over to China and negotiating with the president, with Xi Jinping, to give sort of perspective. What was it? I was reading another article that said that this diplomat, or sorry, the U.S. diplomats were not able to talk to Xi Jinping since a long time. This is a very strange occurrence for this to be able to happen. So we
Wow.
tried to jump on this situation when it came up, when Xi Jinping invited this person to China.
Yeah.
So it was like, yay, something's going to happen. We're going to be able to clear up these lines. We're going to be able to clear up this conflict.
Yeah.
But because of the balloon, this meeting was canceled.
Wow.
So the big question that I want to ask and leave you with more fear and more questions than answers. The big
Oh, great.
question is who stands to gain from this conflict?
Hmm.
And let me answer this one, though. Let me quickly answer this one. The America and the US government stands to gain from this conflict. Now, let me tell you why. They stand to gain from this conflict because of war money.
Hmm.
When we are in a time period of war, we get money. We get a lot of money. And they can tax higher. They can say, we're in the middle of a war, so you need to give us more taxes. The US
Yeah.
government gets a ton more money during major conflicts.
Wow.
This major conflict with China could start that and could cause our economy to collapse even further.
Yeah.
That is the scary part. But again, why is China kind of going along with it? Probably because of World Economic Forum type stuff. Probably because of all the problems with, I don't know, with a lot of this kind of communism that's trying to seep in and trying to change America because it is a world superpower. So again, lots of questions, lots of things, lots of scariness. I'll move it over to Bruce to escalate that scariness even further.
Well, I don't know about escalating the scaredness, but I do want to provide a theological answer to the question of what the heck is going on. Because the Bible talks about this. I'll kick it off with Psalm 127:1, which says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain." I won't spend a ton of time breaking down the finer theological details of why our country is under judgment or how we know that it is. We've already spent a considerable amount of time doing this in previous episodes. Instead, I'd just like to read to you an account from the book of Jeremiah. Keep in mind that just prior to this account, Jeremiah was told by God of all the horrors that would fall on Israel if they continued down the road they were on. Jeremiah was even commanded by God to print a special scroll and hand it to the king of Israel and his council. The king promptly burnt the scroll piece by piece in an act of defiance to God and his warnings. So, what happened could have been avoided. God gave them chance after chance after chance to turn back, and they refused. So the destruction that came to them was of their own doing. So I want to read Jeremiah 37. Just read it, not commentate on it a lot, but read it and then wrap up. And hopefully the application will be clear. Jeremiah chapter 37, we'll see how far I get depending on the time, but if I don't get all the way through it, I'd suggest you read it yourself. Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, made king in the land of Judah, reigned instead of Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim. Let's just go with that. But neither he nor his servants, nor the people of the land listened to the words of the Lord that he spoke through Jeremiah the prophet. King Zedekiah sent Jehukal, the son of Shemaliah, and Zephaniah the priest, the son of Maaseiah, let's just go with that, to Jeremiah the prophet, saying, "Please pray for us to the Lord our God." Now, Jeremiah was still going in and out among the people, for he had not yet been put in prison. The army of Pharaoh had come out of Egypt. Now, this is really important here. The army of Pharaoh had come out of Egypt. And when the Chaldeans, who were besieging Jerusalem, heard news about them, they withdrew from Jerusalem. So this is like, oh, great. This is good news, right? Then the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet. Thus says the Lord God of Israel. Thus you shall say to the king of Judah, who sent you to me to inquire of me, Behold, Pharaoh's army that came to help you is about to return to Egypt, to its own land. And the Chaldeans shall come back and fight against this city. They shall capture it and burn it with fire. Thus says the Lord, do not deceive yourselves, saying, the Chaldeans will surely go away from us, for they will not go away. For even if you should defeat the whole army of Chaldeans who are fighting against you, and there remained of them only wounded men, every man in his tent, they would rise up and burn this city with fire. Now, when the Chaldean army had withdrawn from Jerusalem at the approach of Pharaoh's army, Jeremiah sent out from Jerusalem to go to the land of Benjamin, to receive his portion there among the people. When he was at the Benjamin gate, a sentry there, named Uriah, the son of Shelemiah, son of Hananiah, seized Jeremiah the prophet, saying, "You are deserting to the Chaldeans." And Jeremiah said, "It is a lie. I'm not deserting to the Chaldeans." But Uriah would not listen to him, and seized Jeremiah and brought him to the officials. And the officials were enraged at Jeremiah. They beat him and imprisoned him in the house of Jonathan the secretary, for it had been made a prison. And keep in mind, before this happened, he was already on the bad side of the law, if you will. He was already someone that they didn't like. Jeremiah was already someone they didn't trust because he had words from God that they didn't like. Verse 16, when Jeremiah had come to the dungeon cells and remained there many days, King Zedekiah sent for him and received him. The king questioned him secretly in his house and said, "Is there any word from the Lord?" Jeremiah said, "There is." Then he said, "You shall be delivered into the hands of the king of Babylon." That's the word from the Lord. "You shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon." Jeremiah also said to King Zedekiah, "What wrong have I done to you, or your servants, or this people, that you've put me in the prison? Where are your prophets who prophesy to you, saying, 'The king of Babylon will not come against you and against this land'?" So this is tongue in cheek here. He's being sarcastic. Where are your prophets saying that the king of Babylon's not going to attack you? Because he is, right? All these liars, false prophets were saying he's not going to attack. He won't do it. Just keep doing whatever you're doing, king. They were putting words in his ear and saying, "It'll be fine. It'll all be good. Just do whatever you want." And now Jeremiah here is being sarcastic. He's like, "Where are all those prophets? Didn't they say he wasn't going to attack? Where are they now? This is weird." But they're not in prison. Jeremiah is in prison, even though he prophesied years ahead of time that they were going to attack. And oh, guess what? They did when no one else believed him. Anywho, now hear, please, O my lord the king, let my humble plea come before you, and do not send me back to the house of Jonathan the secretary, lest I die here. So King Zedekiah gave orders, and they committed Jeremiah to the court of the guard, which is a slight upgrade, I suppose. And a loaf of bread was given him daily from the baker's street until all the bread of the city was gone. So Jeremiah remained in the court of the guard. So that was Jeremiah 38 or 37. This was the beginning of the end for Israel. They would face much worse in the following chapters. But to me, this part of the story is one of the worst parts of this whole account. God told them about the dangers coming. He provided ways out. He sent prophets. He even specifically sent a scroll to the king himself, and Israel still refused to turn back. And so God destroyed them. He judged them. I hope this account is not lost on us. This needs to be what we bring to our political leaders, to the people around us, to the country around us descending rapidly into madness. There will be more scares like this Chinese spy balloon, and they won't be as comical. There will be more of these sorts of scares in our country. There will be more incidents where, oh shoot, we got to move our nuclear weapons, or oh shoot, they just blew up a harbor, or oh shoot, they're destroying large swaths of our country. There will be more of this. And we need to not be like the people of Israel's day who live however they want to. Even though God has condemned their lifestyle, condemned the way they live, they didn't want to refuse it and turn back because, oh, convenience. They were given opportunities, ample opportunities. They were given so much, so many times they could have turned back. They were given so many blessings from God, and they used every single one of them against him. And so he destroyed them utterly and entirely. That is where we're heading as a country. Now you might be like, "Hey, Bruce, this is a balloon. Why are you doing this? What's with all the doom and gloom?" Right? This is a precursor for what's to come if we continue down this path. Israel and so many other countries like them throughout history will just be the latest Roman Empire that will crumble in on itself because of what we're doing, because we're spitting on the name of God, trampling on it every single day in this wicked, wicked country we call America. This is what's going to happen to us if we don't turn back now. And on Friday and Wednesday, we're going to talk about just that. How do we turn back culturally? in our everyday lives. So stay tuned for that. Anything you want to add, Jake, before we wrap up?
No, we're already over time. I'm not going
Yeah.
to say anything.
Okay. Cool. Well,
I
thanks
could
for
have.
all your. Yes, I know. We both could say so much more. And we used to for a whole hour and a half, but now we're not. So
Yeah.
thanks for all your research, Jake. Really, really good stuff. Insightful. I've been wondering this whole week what the heck is going on with this Chinese spy balloon. So saw it in memes and all this kind of stuff. So good to actually learn about what's happening. I learned so much.
Yeah.
Just sitting here. Very cool.
Hopefully.
So,
Sorry, I know I was going to talk, but this is something very quick. Hopefully, they take the minimal information that I actually gave, and
research
you
more.
go out and research more
Always.
and find out more. So the whole point of our show is that we bring information, we bring a small little tidbit of information to say, hey, this is out there. You should go look at it more.
Yes,
you should go look at it more.
Be inquisitive.
We're not here to give you all of the answers. We're here to bring you questions. You go find the answers.
Absolutely. All right. Show website, trdshow.net. Send us an email, trdshow@protonmail.com. Thanks so much for watching or listening, and we'll see you on Wednesday. And until then, remember, everyone, in all that you do, do it as unto the Lord.